Going on, guys? It's Mike for Sim Racing 604 and welcome back to Assetto Corsa for PC. You are looking at the Formula Hybrid 2022 S from Racing Studio. This is their paid mod for AC on PC, which is an interpretation of a car that falls under the FIA regulations for Formula 1 in 2022. In fact, there's two cars. What Racing Studio has done this time around with their mod, which they generally produce annually, is given us two cars. So there is the standard version and then the S version. The S version has slightly more horsepower, slightly less torque, and of course vice versa for the standard version. And these cars are slightly different and come with different skins, so you're actually getting two cars for the price of one, but again, both falling under the FIA regulations for Formula 1 in 2022. So, you might be thinking to yourself, we need another 2022 Formula 1 car like we need another hole in the head. There's a bunch out there already, most notably, perhaps, is the Formula Alpha from Virtual Racing Cars, which I have reviewed in detail on this channel previously. In addition, there's the MSF, there is also one from a company that I have a history with. The bottom line is, there's a lot of 2022 Formula 1 cars, so why did Racing Studio choose to take this on? Well, there's a bit of history there, because the Formula Hybrid X came out years ago, and it was Racing Studio being bold and looking at the upcoming, at the time, FIA regulations for Formula 1, and seeing if they could make a car based on that, and they did a great job of it, of course. There were some tweaks to it later, and we've got an Evo version as a free add-on for those who already owned the Formula Hybrid X. But what's happened is, since they released the X and the X Evo, we've got a lot more data about the 2022 Formula 1 cars, and the net result is that the X fell a little bit behind. But world events being what they are, Racing Studio wasn't able to commit to updating the car fully until now. So this has been a project long in the works, hence the reason they took on a car that's already been done a bunch of times for Assetto Corsa. So what I'm going to do here is take both cars out for testing. The first one we'll do is the S, and we'll test it at Imola, and then we'll go out in the standard version with the optional physics that Racing Studio has bundled with the car. That's included in your download when you buy the car, and we'll do a little testing of both and see how they stack up, and also how they compare to the Formula Alpha. So let's get into that right now. Alright guys, so here we are in the RSS Formula Hybrid 22S, and about to put in some laps here at Imola. Some of you may have noticed I've gone back to the Moza Racing setup here. I'm reviewing their pedals, so if there's any funky behavior under acceleration or braking, could come down to my lack of skill, or it could come down to not being used to these pedals. So, like all Formula Hybrid cars, this one has various ERS modes. Currently, I am in the build mode. And let's address the elephant in the room. Let's address that Formula Alpha from Virtual Racing Cars. A lot of you are going to be wondering, how does it stack up? How does either stack up? And I'm pleased to give you the news that both are great. Both are awesome. This one is a lot more forgiving to drive, is what I've found so far. It won't take everything. I've still spun it a few times. I've only had about an hour with the car, but I've still managed to put it backwards a few times. But yeah, overall, I find that I can be a lot more aggressive with the curbs, aggressive with my throttle application than I can with the Alpha. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? That's up to you. I have no idea how this car should drive in real life, but that's been my experience so far. And yeah, sounds between the two, more or less the same. I wouldn't say one particularly stands out. I use the, why am I blanking on his name? Used to be AC Fan. SHR modding, sorry about that. I use the SHR modding sound mod, and sounds a little bit cleaner than this, I would say. A little bit more realistic, plus you get the different engine manufacturers. So I'm sure there'll be an update published soon, which will cover this car. So that's a write-off. I mean, interior detailing, again, both are great. But yeah, the biggest difference between the two is that this one is a much more forgiving drive, is what I've found so far. Switching now to low deploy mode from build. So I should be able to improve my lap time slightly here. There are 3 levels above that. Medium, high, and attack. Or sorry, balanced, high, and attack. Just shy of 320 kilometers on the straight there. Kilometers per hour, of course. And yeah, I don't want to make this strictly about Formula Alpha versus Formula Hybrid 22S. But you're fine with either, honestly, which kind of presents a problem for RaceSim Studio because, of course, they'll be trying to sell units, but I don't think this necessarily does anything to distinguish itself from the Formula Alpha, so it kind of leaves consumers in a weird place. I support RSS. As soon as they put anything out, I get it day one, and I'm sure I'm not the only one, and you won't be unhappy with this car, that's for sure, but is there anything that makes it particularly stand out against the Alpha? Nothing I've seen so far, so really, I think the market for this is going to be people who, like me, support RSS unconditionally or haven't bought either car yet and just prefer this one for whatever reason, but honestly, they're very similar in terms of their greatness. So, yeah, it could be a tougher decision, I guess. And yeah, very difficult for me to go on record as saying one is better based on what I've felt so far. A couple of extra details with the Alpha that I think most people won't care about most of the time, so I won't even get into that. You can check out my review of that car if you want to know more about the Formula Alpha. But right now, I am focused on the Formula Hybrid, which, if you want the comparison, I've been driving a lot of F122 lately, and there is really no comparison to be made. I mean, if you want immersion and, you know, be sucked into the life of an F1 driver, of course F122 is king. If you want to feel a car alive underneath you and interactive and responsive in incredible ways, yeah, it's a Formula Hybrid. It's amazing. I'm still getting used to things, so I'm not really pushing particularly hard here. But I think I'm in the low, 120s? Yeah, that was, oh, sorry, I'm still running this. So that's a 123 and change, so definitely in capable hands. This is going to be well under a minute and 20 seconds. With a decent setup as well. I'd say comfortably, this is a fairly neutral handling setup. I was getting a bit of understeer initially when I started with this car, but it actually came down to me not understanding it. It wasn't so much understeer, it just kind of felt like the car had a lot more weight or inertia mid-corner, but it just came down to me applying more steering input, and the car could take it, so really just a learning exercise for me. And this thing is quick. And yeah, I got on the throttle way harder there than I could have in other cars on the market. So currently up about a tenth here in balanced mode after an ugly first sector. So I'm going to see if I can improve upon this even further. One more lap in balance mode, and then we'll probably switch to attack and wrap the video up. DRS wide open. Let's see if we can hit 320 here. It should be close. 310, 315, 318 was the last I saw before the braking zone. So up over 3/4 of a second here, having a pretty good lap compared to my previous. Chewing through a lot of battery. So I'm going to be up close to a second by the time I hit the final 2 corners here. See if we can bring this safely across the line. Not sure if I hit DRS twice there. No, I did not. So 122.7 that time around. Let's switch to build mode. Get some of that battery back. There's actually a mode below build, which is no deploy, which I might as well use. So strictly on the combustion engine now. Which should be able to bring that battery up to good levels pretty quick. It already is, actually. I've got about 80% battery. So setting up for one final lap on attack mode, which I'm almost certain to throw away, but we'll try it just the same. Woo! Acceleration is awesome in this thing. Alright. Go attack here. There we go. Wow, that was not smart. All right, here we go. DRS open. Should comfortably cross 320 here. 320, 325. Somewhere around 327 there on that straightaway. A little bit of a hesitation on the corner exit there. Up about 6/10. Have to use 7th gear there on that short straight. And this will be into the 121s. 121.6. And I think I'll end on that positive note. So, now let's take a look at the other Formula Hybrid, the non-S version with the optional custom shaders patch physics. Alright, so here we are at Mugello. This time around, it is the Formula Hybrid 2022 standard version, not the S version. We've got the optional physics enabled, so what RaceSim Studio has done is bundled some extra physics, and it's just a drag and drop into your install folder to get the optional physics, and honestly it's not that different. I've done a little bit of testing here so far, and it feels more or less the same. I wouldn't say there's a drastic change, and you don't need to do it, by the way. You can run the either the regular 22 or the S version without the optional physics, but if you have a more recent version of the custom shaders patch, you can choose to install those optional physics and take advantage of some things. And I do believe the big change, or probably the most talked about change, will be the porpoising. I think you need those optional physics to get the porpoising effects. Why anybody would want the porpoising effects, I don't really know, but anyway, it's something that RaceSim Studio has built into this car. if you really want that authentic Formula One experience. So, I think we're down in low mode right now. Let's take a look. I just kicked it down to build, back up to low mode. So we'll try and turn in a lap here, get some heat in the tires, probably in the low 120, or no, not low 120s, mid 120s I would say. And let's see if we can experience any porpoising here. Whoops, forgot my DRS. It's open now. And 310 kilometers an hour, no porpoising. But you do hear that floor bottoming out there. You might have heard it. It's pretty low in the sound mix, but you can hear something going on there. So I don't believe I had that with the S version, with the regular physics. So it's possible that's at play thanks to the revised enhanced physics, shall we call them. And this used to be flat in the, 2019 through 2021 cars, but there's no way you're taking that flat in this 2022. Or I'm not anyway. But really one of my favorite courses, Mugello. Except for turn 1. I've thrown away so many laps at turn 1. It's not even funny. Alright, so let's kick it up to balance mode, see if we can get a little bit more performance out of this Formula Hybrid 2022. Full power, looking for that DRS light on the wheel. Missing it with my thumb, but I eventually got there. Rear wing wide open, 310 kilometers an hour. Still no porpoising, 315, 316-ish before I had to hit the brakes for turn 1, which again, if I'm going to throw away a lap, it's probably going to be there. So yeah, incredible handling possibilities with this car. It is so fast, so nimble. Again, little safety lift there. Might be able to dial up the wing at the expense of top end speed for the start-finish straight. If you want to take that double right-hander, or is it a triple right-hander? I can't remember. If you want to take that flat, it is possible, maybe, with enough wing, but I am certainly not brave enough. You can hear the different engine note in this Formula Hybrid. Sounds really cool. Nice that they put two different sounds in the different cars. Alright, let's kick it up to high. We did attack at the last circuit. I think we can get away with high. And yeah, we got a little bit of bouncing there. Nothing significant though. Ooh, this thing is nimble. Yeah, I wouldn't say there's a big leap in enjoyment between the 2022 with the standard physics or with the enhanced physics. You try them for yourself, of course. But I would say it's a safe summary to say they're very similar to each other. Alright. We gotta go attack, right? Oh no, we can't. Let's build first. Low, build. I don't think I mentioned low mode in the previous video. But there is a low mode. So that's what we'll use to build a charge, and then we'll go attack for one lap. And that'll wrap the video. So yeah, it's hard to tell what's bouncing from these different physics and what's the course. I would have to do a 1-to-1 comparison, Hybrid 22 to Hybrid 22, or 22S to 22S. Same course, same course, varied physics to get that comparison, but again, not a huge difference between the two. All right, how much charge do I have? Not enough. I was hoping to have that around the 80% mark. But I'll give it what I can with what I have on board. One more braking zone, then we'll kick that up to attack. Here we go. You can see that depleting on the wheel, that blue bar. It might be masked behind me, actually, unfortunately. But that blue bar is of battery charge. Depleting very, very rapidly in attack mode. Got a little wide there. So I'm actually down time. So this has not been a great lap for me. Down about a 10th. And I'm probably going to run out of battery pretty soon, which is only going to further complicate things. So up a quarter second now. I should get a little extra punch from that attack mode coming out of the quarter here. Looking for that DRS light to come on. Rear wing open. I'm going to finish up about 0.2 seconds on the previous best, so not fantastic. Minute 23. Sorry, that swerve was for me trying to see the lap time on my wheel. So Formula Hybrid, I mean, it's fantastic year in, year out. As I mentioned in the first section of this video, it's tough because there's nothing here that really points me towards you must get this car if you have the Alpha, you must drive this. But if you don't have either, both are a safe bet, and it's a really fun car. I had a blast driving it, as I do with all RSS Studio products. So well done, so great to have them back on the scene. Congratulations to them on the release of this car. And I'm sure there'll be lots more from this car on this channel in the future. Thank you guys for watching.